Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a mama llama and her little baby. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to show you step by step how to do it from start to finish using acrylic paints. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat for our live show, so if you have questions while I'm painting, you can ask those and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I thought this would really be a fun image. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, has to paint. Sometimes that happens. So we're doing this one for kind of Easter, Mother's Day coming up, that kind of thing. Plus, we just had a grandbaby, so I'm in baby mode right now. Everything baby seems really awesome to me. So anyhow, we're going to be, this is our reference photo. It was from Shutterstock. And I've got a 9 by 12 inch canvas panel that I'm going to be using. This is a Fredrix pre-toned canvas panel called Cantone. They come in a 3-pack, and they've got kind of a medium, they're not super textured, so they work really well for this. And I've figured that having the gray background will just kind of give us a head start on our painting today. So if you don't have this, you can go ahead and just cover your whatever canvas you're using with a coat of gray paint. Let me go over our brushes really quick. I've got a number 12 bright, a number 8 bright, a number 4 Filbert. Those will be mostly for the background. And then for some of the more details on the llamas, I've got a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 inch angle shader, a 1/4 inch 3/8 inch Willow's blender, which are just kind of a rounded tip stiff bristled brush. And then I've got a number 10 aught liner and a number 1 liner for some of the eye details, and then number 6 Filbert if we want another Filbert for some of the fur. I'm not sure which ones we're going to use, if we're going to use all of these, but these are kind of the ones we're going to start out with. Princeton is our brush sponsor. Fredrix is our canvas sponsor. So thank you to both of them for providing our materials for today. Let's go over our paint colors really quick. Got Quinacridone Magenta. This is a color, pre-mixed color called Titan Mars Pale. If you don't have it, I'll show you how to mix it. This is Cadmium Yellow Medium, Yellow Oxide, Ultramarine Blue, Light Ultramarine Blue. It's just Ultramarine Blue plus white. Burnt Sienna, Burnt Umber, Carbon Black, Titanium White, Unbleached Titanium, and Zinc White. That's just a transparent white for some of the eye details. So if you don't have that one, that's okay too. But I'll show you how to mix all of these. And if you don't have these exact colors, just use what you've got that's similar. We're just kind of doing kind of an orangey glow in the background. So it's kind of orangey grays, if that makes sense. A little bit blue-gray. I've already kind of drawn out my llamas on my canvas to start with, but I'll show you how I did it. So I'm just going to get out my sketch pad here and a pencil. And this is about the same perspective, maybe a little bit lower, because this isn't, I think, an 8 by 10. Anyhow, doesn't matter. We're doing it on the rectangle. I thought it would actually be kind of fun. The reference photo had, or the thumbnail, you know how YouTube cuts off for 16 by 9 perspective for, thumbnails on screen. And this is kind of how it looks. So I thought, that would actually work on like an 8 by 16 or something like that canvas. So if you wanted to like emphasize that long look of the llama's neck, you could cut off that bottom area there if you wanted to too. So that's just an option. All right, so our mama llama, I kind of figured out sort of where I wanted the baby to go, and sort of did just a little round circle in the little ears here, and then the neck, just to start out very lightly, and then kind of figured out where I wanted the mama llama's head to come out, and it's pretty close to the top of the canvas. It curves just slightly in, and then as it gets towards this baby here, it kind of cuts off right about there, maybe a little closer. And then her little muzzle is touching his face like that. So that's the best place to start. This is our focal point, so we want to make sure we get all the perspectives kind of right there, and then the rest of this we can kind of adjust pretty easily. So the bottom of the neck comes out. It's pretty thick, and it comes out almost straight and then comes down just a little bit as it hits the end there. And this is all going to be kind of shaggy down this way. The fur kind of direction kind of goes like this. This looks really bad right now, but that's all right. I'm not a very good, like, I don't feel like I'm a very good drawer. Like, I don't spend a lot of time drawing. I much prefer working it out in paint. So I kind of do a very basic sketch, and then I do the rest in, somebody left a comment. One was like, how can you be such a bad drawer and paint so well? I was like, that's the mystery of the universe, isn't it? I don't know. It's just the way art works. So
is that a compliment?
I don't know. It was. I don't think it was. It was kind of a backhanded compliment. If one. So
well, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Oh, she's trying to draw. So cute. All right. So the ear actually comes out almost straight. So there's just like a slight dip here, really not much of a dip in the neck. And then this ear comes out, and it comes out a little bit almost past this little forehead mark here. So you can kind of make sure that you're going out far enough with my ear. At first I was kind of putting it back here, and that wasn't far enough forward. So they have very long ears. And then this ear is set back, so this one kind of comes in like this, and then this one angles up and around like this, and it's kind of hidden behind the fur right here, so it doesn't really, or the hair, I don't know, wool, right? I think that's right. And then the eye is tucked in right in here, like that. There's a little area right here where the wool comes forward on the face, and there's kind of a dark shadow right there by the face. So there's this kind of their cheek area, and then the bottom of the muzzle. This is kind of a V shape right here. It kind of narrows towards the mouth. It's got a little bit of a chin there that comes up, and then the mouth kind of is just a straight line almost, and it angles up and back down just a little bit, and then this front lip comes out just a little bit from the chin, and then the nose is like a triangle right here, like that, right there, right, and then this comes up a little bit higher. Okay, and then the eye is tucked right in here, and it is kind of we're seeing the eyelid here is covering part of it, and it's tucked back in here, like that, okay? Oh, she's got a sweet expression. Tilting the mouth up like this will give it a little bit more of a smiley look, right? And yeah, that looks about right. All right, and then the baby's face is right in here. So its ear comes out from right about there, right about where the nose is, comes out and fills this gap here mostly. And then they've got banana ears. That's how you can tell them from alpacas. Alpacas have straighter ears. Llamas have this banana shape to their ears. Curves in like this.
I was trying to think what fruit is straight like that. More like celery ears, I guess.
Yeah, celery ears.
Okay.
All right, so then they have their little poof on the top of their head right here. Kind of comes across the brow right here. Comes in. And their eye is their eyes are pretty close together here. So leave just a little bit of space for the nose. The nose is going to be right in here. It's like a little heart shape right there, like that. And then there's a split lip, and then it curves back around and just a little bit wider than the nose, like that. And then there's a little opening for the mouth. Area is dark right there. And then there's just a little chin underneath. And then the nose is actually got a little nostrils here and here that kind of curve up and back down. Curve around like that. All right, then the eyes are going to fit right in here. And this eye is actually a little wider than I did it. Let me do it a little bit farther apart. This eye is, yeah, right about there. Right in here, and the eyelashes are kind of touching Mom a little bit. And then this eye is a triangle, so it's like this. Okay. Okay. And then you round out the end of the triangle. So draw a triangle, and then round out this side of it just a little bit. And then the eyelashes are coming down over that part there. And that's pretty good. Okay, so then there's the muzzle, comes down around, kind of meets up with the chin a little bit. And then from the eye, there is a part of the face that comes out. Right there and there. Comes down like that. And then the neck comes in just a little bit from that. It goes almost straight down, widens out a little bit at the bottom here. And this is really going to be cut off right here on our, this is longer this way than it's supposed to be for our canvas perspective. So there's the back right there of this side, and then there is a little bit on this side where it shows, and then the rump is showing up in here. So it's a little bit higher right there. And then it comes down like that. Okay, so there's our baby llama. Super cute. Baby and mama. Not too hard. I'm going to have the traceable available for you, so if you don't want to have to draw it, but you still want to paint this, I will have, once I finish my painting, I make a digital traceable from the actual finished painting. So it'll be exactly the dimensions of what I'm going to be painting. All right. That's available on patreon.com/AngelaFineArt in case you are interested. And I have traceables. They're $1 a month for unlimited downloads of traceables. So it's just $1 for access to the traceables, and then you can download as many as you want for $1 a month. Not $1 each. All right, I'm going to put out a little glazing liquid just to kind of give myself a little bit of time with my blending here. I'm not going to do a whole lot with the background. It's pretty plain, so I'm going to keep it that way. I'm going to go ahead and spray my paints because I can see they're already starting to get a little dry. Forgot to do that. I usually put out my paints and then spray them with water immediately, and that way they last a little bit longer before they dry out. So I'm going to grab some Ultramarine Blue. I just scooped up a little bit, and I take it to a clean spot on my palette, and then I just smush it down, kind of offload it almost like a shovel. Grab a little bit of Ultramarine Blue, do the same, maybe a little bit more blue than brown. And then I'm just going to carefully mix those together. And every now and then just kind of smush down in the middle there to offload the extra paint. That looks pretty good. Don't want to get it all gummed up in here, and then I can kind of scoop it up and smush it. It's kind of a smushing, twisting motion. And you could do this with a palette knife if you don't want to get your brush all dirtied up. This brush is super absorbent. These Princeton 6100 series brushes are super absorbent. So there's our gray for our background. I just want to go ahead and mix that up to have it. So when we do our kind of other colors, we'll have it to kind of blend in. So that'll be pretty close to our background color. And actually, it's probably, our background color is probably a little bit lighter. Because if it goes on exactly the same color, then it'll dry darker. Acrylics dry a little bit darker. So you want to go just a slightly lighter than whatever color you're trying to match. All right, so that's pretty good. I've got a couple of different versions of gray here, and I'm just going to get a little bit of my darker color. And I'm going to have a little bit of this light ultramarine blue. Now, light ultramarine blue is just ultramarine blue plus white. So it's just going to be a little bit more of a bluish version of our gray. And I'm just going to kind of do a very abstracted background here. Gray, blue, and then I'm going to grab some of my Titan Pale. That's pretty. And go right over your line of your llama. Don't worry about that. I'm just kind of playing with this here. You could probably use a sponge for this background. Just kind of like gravelly looking background. I think I'm just going to kind of do it very random. So up here closer to the llama and mama, or Mama Llama and Baby, it's a little bit more bright.
I'm glad that you chose to paint the traditional Easter llama this weekend. So,
you were worried I wasn't going to do it this year.
well, yeah, I mean, when Easter became commercialized, it somehow got converted over to a bunny.
Right.
But, hardcore traditionalists know it's a llama.
Easter llama?
Mm-hmm.
Is that who brings our eggs? Because that makes as much sense as a bunny bringing eggs. So, I mean, I'm just wondering.
I was going to say, who do you think did it? The parents? I don't think they have any time to do that.
No, I don't. No, the tooth fairy around our house was very lax. The tooth fairy never seemed to remember to leave money for our kids. So I would have to, run in there and like hide it and be like, "Are you sure you missed you? I think I saw it under there." And then
obviously you didn't do a good job looking for it.
Well, exactly. I didn't do a good job looking for it. So, well, no, I'm saying the tooth fairy always forgot to come at our house.
I know.
So I would have to go in there and check for it. And,
but we have to give our kids a complex saying, well, obviously you were not looking hard enough.
Exactly. Yeah. You missed it. It was there the whole time.
Come on.
Oh, gosh. All right. So just kind of going around my llama here with this color. And really, I'm not going much brighter than my background color. It's pretty close. And I've got so much gray on here. If I press down hard enough, I'd get even more, this dark color. It's still up in that brush, way up high, so I can kind of down in here, press down and get a little bit more of that color. Just want a little bit of a contrast. But this does not have to be anything in particular. We're not trying to do anything special with this background. We want our llama and baby to be our focal point, so the background's just going to be kind of a gray, nebulous thing here. Grab a little bit more of this gray, dark gray for our corner up here. And I'll show you how to mix this orangey color here in a minute. Once I get through this. And go over the top of your lines, your chalk lines, especially when you're doing fur. You always want to go a little bit farther in from your lines than you think you need to, because those outlines are always you want to come out over the top of your background color with your fur or wool in this case, and you want to give yourself some of that background color underneath, so that when you put your hairs over the top, your background color is, if you stopped your background color too soon, then your hairs would have to come way out here. And if your line is right here, then come in, to here, so that when you do your fur over the top, you still see a little bit of that background color. If that makes sense, I don't know. Just my hands.
That was a really good reenactment.
With my
with your hands. Yes. Have you thought a career in miming?
In hand miming. If this doesn't work out, I'll think about it.
Yeah, because you're really good at it.
Stop making me laugh. Oh my god. I can't even remember what it's going to do now. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to use the angle brush. I don't think I'm going to need these two brushes at all for the background. I think that large brush did it just fine. So I'm just going to set those aside because I don't think I'm going to need them. I'm going to grab my 3/8 inch angle. And I'll show you how to mix a color similar to this Titan Pale. So it's going to be kind of like a magenta and burnt sienna with maybe a little bit of yellow oxide. So it's kind of an orangey brown base. That's pretty close. And then just add some white. And then you can kind of see once you get that in there how close you are to your color. And I need more yellow. So just grab a little bit more yellow.
So if they were
pretty close, so
painting the rare gray llama, they could stop right now.
The invisible llama.
Well, it's gray,
Right. Okay, so little tiny bit of Quinacridone Magenta to make it more kind of salmon colored. A little bit of the burnt sienna and a lot of the yellow oxide. So that's your kind of mixture for the Titan Pale. It's very similar there. And so that'll be our fur color for some of the main fur areas. And I feel like I probably am still a little too dark on my background here, so I might add a second layer to that background here eventually. But for now, I'm going to start on my fur, and I'm going to use a little bit of the gray. Get some of this darker gray here. And a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue. So I want to go a little bit of like blue-gray on my llama under here. And I'm just going to lay in some texture on this llama and kind of in the direction that I want the fur to go. So I'm just using that brush just on the edge And I'm going to put in some dark areas on my fur. I'm really not sure if it's fur. It's probably not fur.
Yeah, I think it's a wool, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Something
not
like that.
sure if you just call it wool or if it's called hairs. Or
Oh, I'm sure we'll be
it's just, I'm sure we'll
corrected.
have correct. Oh yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
after the fact. That's not going to be a problem. That's not
So the furry hair wool will just kind of cover it all, so we're not wrong.
exactly.
Maybe it's spine, so we'll throw that in there too, just in case.
I know it's not horns.
Okay.
It's,
Or antlers.
exactly.
Or a farm hall. So we're good.
Covered all our bases. All our controversial subjects. We're really hitting it hard on the controversial topics in this channel. I'm just saying. Got all kinds of drama happening there. Just watch out. Oh gosh. I'm gonna grab some yellow. And you have to be careful when you're mixing yellow with black or gray because it tends to turn green. I'll show you here what happens if I use my cadmium yellow and just say, you know, I want a darker yellow and mix in some black to it. Look how green it turns. Blacks tend to have a lot of blue undertones. And so when you mix them with yellow, they just turn to green. So just keep that in mind. When you're working with yellows, you want to use browns to darken them, not black. Yeah.
That's a really good tip.
Thanks. So instead of using this gray, I think I'm just going to go straight with the brown here. Get a little bit warmer color. Warmer brown. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of this reddish color to it. And we'll use a little bit of that in here. Now this is all going to be mostly covered up, so I'm just putting these tones in here just to have as kind of a base. They're not going to be our main colors, obviously. But there is a little bit of a warmer yellow down back here. And it's kind of a darker-ish color, so I'm wanting to go, that's why I darkened it up a little bit. Now I'll put the lighter colors on top, and we'll see these darker colors kind of in underneath. Grab some more of this gray. I'm going darker around the ear here. And it's going to look, this is one that's definitely going to look kind of worse before it looks better. So just kind of know that going in. It's not going to look real great at first. But we'll be putting lots of layers on here, so it'll eventually get there. And I didn't really fill it in completely. I'm just leaving a little bit of light spots here for my letter fur to go on top. And now I'm going to grab some of that lighter color. This is that Titan Pale. Adding a little tiny bit of gray to it. There we go. I'm just going to start laying that in. Over the top. And this area up here is very light, so we'll be going over this a couple of times, but I want to go ahead and get this color down. And then as it goes around the side, it's really grayed out, a lot darker down in here. So I'm going to get a little bit more gray and just do the gray. It's almost the same color as our background down in here. So I do need to lighten up my background right in here so that it's not looking like the same exact color. So the fur goes down from the face, out from the ear, up right here. So it kind of does this sort of starburst thing right here, kind of radiates out from around the ear. And then as it comes out, it goes kind of angles down at first. All of this angles down, and then right up at the top, it goes kind of straight-ish. So all this kind of angles down, all in here, and then this top part kind of angles out this way. Okay. There we go. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put this color on the face. The face is pretty light, so this will be a good base for the face. And there is a white halo around all of it, which is really what gives it that kind of glowing look. It's really cool. So we'll put that on towards the end. We'll go around all of this with this bright color all around the outside of it and make it look like the sun is shining through, catching on this. Okay. So this is unbleached titanium here. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of lighter color in a couple places. Okay. Looks a little bit like a wolf right now. The long neck.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, you were thinking it.
A lot.
Okay, thank you. We will get it looking good. Trust me, it'll happen. Just gonna take it some time.
It's a wolf in llama's clothing.
Exactly.
And I think the baby llama knows it. The
Yeah.
look on its face.
I know, it's kind of like... All right, so going in with that kind of gray color there on the baby. And then that lighter kind of yellowy color along this side. The sun's hitting it. Okay. They're kind of weird colors. I think it's the just the way the light is hitting the white and turning the white of their, or the off-white of their fur, catching the light. It's changing the colors. So he's pretty much invisible at this point. Put on his invisibility cloak to hide from the wolf. A little bit more pink here. A little bit more of the gray. So grabbed a little bit more of the magenta and gray for the inside of the ears. It's not super pink. It's just a little bit kind of tinted. There. All right, I think that's good. So I'm going to use this. And I think the problem is that this has come around here. This. Let's grab a little bit of that gray. Fill in a little bit of the lip area. And nose there. Okay, and then the eye needs to come forward. It's a little bit too far back. And this is the cheek there. It was that long muzzle that was making it look more wolfish than llama. There we go. Now we're getting a little closer to where we want it. Alright, so I'm going to use this orangey color here for this background. Just fill in a little bit more yellow here, or not yellow, but more the lighter color. And you can use the large brush again if you want. Cover a little bit better. The smaller brush gives it a little bit more delicate look, so you could grab those brushes that I already kind of put away and use one of those too. Just trying to kind of a little bit lighter value right around the face there in our background. And I'm not using a lot of paint here, and that way I can kind of just sort of rub out those edges and it'll blend out. There we go. Lay your paint down where you want the darkest, and then just use what's left in your brush to smudge out those edges. And we're not really going for super smooth here, so it can be kind of messy. Here we go. There. Okay, that's better. That's better. And our neck of our llama looks a little bit too narrow still. We'll be adding more fur outside that boundary edge to widen it out. And grab some light ultramarine blue, and let's just go ahead and start to widen that out a little bit. And if it's looking a little too like sharp, you can turn your brush around instead of using this edge. So it's going to give you kind of more of a bladed effect. You can turn it around and do the tip down, which will give you a little bit softer, more rounded tip, but you can still get kind of a straight line at the end. A little bit more random, a little bit less kind of knife-like brush strokes. It's just a subtle difference, but it'll kind of make it a little bit softer looking maybe. I'm going to grab a little bit of that darker gray. Go back in between here and just do a little bit of that. And you can see how that undercoat was important because now you're kind of seeing some of those other colors underneath when we're doing these top layers. It's going to give us a little bit more depth to our wool. And I'm just kind of wiggling and drawing in this fur. It's a lot of fun. You can use any number of brushes for this. It doesn't have to be the angle brush, so you could use a flat brush instead. Or even a round brush. If you've got a round brush that you like using, you could use that and do little, brush strokes. I like these flat brushes because they hold more paint, and so you can go longer without having to reload. There we go. Always cute. Okay, now as we get closer to the face, it starts turning more into the a lighter color. So I'm going to grab some of that unbleached titanium here. And it's mixed with that gray, so it's not all the way light. Go along that back of the back, and I'm just kind of laying my brush at its angle here and just kind of wiggling it back and forth. There we go. So don't go much past this middle part here with the lighter colored so this area down here, this corner, should stay dark. Grab some of that yellow or Titan Pale here. Do some of that. Add it up along the back here. Good, and then when you get towards the face here, much smaller brush strokes. And I'm probably going to switch to a smaller brush because this one's just a little bit big, so I might get the 1/4 inch out. Okay. And this is way too narrow right here. Their heads are much wider all the way down, so we'll widen out that fur there. I don't want to leave this brush in the water. I'm going to clean it out somewhat and then just keep it damp. I'm going to lay it off to the side here on my paper towel and just keep it wet so that it doesn't dry out completely before I get the chance to clean it. Alright, so I'm going to grab my smaller 1/4 inch and let's work on this face some more. I'll grab the Unbleached Titanium here. And maybe a little bit of that Titan Pale. And bringing this fur down a bit more down in this area here. There we go. Thickening out that area there. And then I'm going to bring it up right here. Thicken up this area here. Right around the ears. I did another llama that, it's a boho llama last year, I think it was, maybe. So if you're interested in that, I didn't link it. I'll need to put a link in the cards up there to make it easy to find, but it was a lot of fun. That one had flowers in her hair. Super cute. It was a little bit, probably a little bit less realistic than this one is going to end up being. A little bit more cartoonish. Got the gray here just going through. Okay, now I want to put in a really dark area of gray because I kind of lost it in here. So there's a really dark shadow in some of this hair in here. So I'm going to put those back in because I kind of lost those. It's all about contrast. Even though it's mostly white, there is these little bits of contrast here, and that's what gives that fur dimension, or wool dimension. Please don't leave me comments. No, already. I'm going to get comments about this. I bought a alpaca. I have a little alpaca collection of real alpaca. And when I was buying it, I kept calling it a llama, and I made the alpaca guy really mad. I cannot tell you how many times he told me alpaca. Like, he kind of did the ornament thing that you do. Yeah. Yeah. He just followed me around and kept correcting me. Alpaca. Every time I said llama, alpaca. Oh, okay. It was a sore spot for him. Triggered something.
Worked so hard to get to that point. Get the respect, and
exactly. It's still
being dissed.
I know. It's still being called a llama. All right. Grab the black. I'm going to go ahead and kind of put some of the eye in here, and that way I've got a reference for my face. There we go. And you can exaggerate and make it a little bit bigger if you want. It always looks kind of cute if you do the animal eye just slightly bigger than it's supposed to be. Let's go ahead and do the baby too. Why not?
And what does that do by making their eye a little bit bigger?
It makes it look more childlike because kids have smaller eye, or they have big eyes for their face. So it's just a kind of a trick to make something look a little bit more fanciful and childish and innocent. I don't know. Because their eyes are human or adult size when they're people too. So, as far as I understand, your eyes don't grow. They're adult size when you're born. Okay, I may be totally wrong here, but this is what I understand. So please correct me I'm sure you will correct me if I'm wrong, but
hopefully people aren't coming to a painting tutorial for their medical facts.
Right. But that's why babies are so cute. Because I have those big old eyes. Alrighty. We'll fix those up. They're a little bit wonky right now, but let's go ahead and put a little bit of the dark gray around them. Let's just mix in a little bit of and this is that Ultramarine Blue plus burnt umber mixture that we made at the beginning. So I'm going to use that right in here and around the nose. And create that lid area. Grab some Unbleached Titanium. Just kind of go in here and put my highlights in. Shape that out a little bit. Cute. I can't stand it. Okay.
It started.
So cute. Just want to squeeze him and hug him and kiss him. What was that commercial? That cartoon? George.
Yep.
I did not know this, but that cartoon was based off of the book of Mice and Men, right? Yeah, of Mice and Men, where that character, which is a sad story. So it's like, do you remember the story I'm talking about? Okay, well, I'm not going to say it now because it's sad. Look it up.
Well, I don't think I want to look up anything sad.
Okay.
So no.
Well, I just didn't ever realize that's what the cartoon was referring to. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just kind of outlining the face a little bit here, just kind of defining some of the features, making sure I got the kind of perspectives right. I think I came down a little bit too much on that chin. Then, if you catch it while it's wet, you can just kind of wipe it right off, as long as your background's dry. Alrighty, let's get some white here. little bit of my yellow. I'm going to make a bright yellow. And I've got a little bit of gray in my brush, so it's not completely yellow. Might even add just slightly. Yeah, that's good. I want it really bright. I'm going to come in under here and outline this chin just a little bit. And use it up here. Getting that bright glow going. Top of the ears. And just kind of wiggling it across here to add some of this color to the top of the face. Okay. I'm going to switch to the 1/4 inch Willow blender here. I'm going to use some of this color on the top of the baby's head. And just kind of use the edge of it and make kind of these fuzzy little lines. Tap it around the sides of the ears. Shape those out just a little bit. And this brush will just help if you just tap. It kind of gives it, it'll give it a fuzzy edge, so it won't be as hard to find. It'll look a little softer. There we go. Cutie pie. So cute. Alright, gonna grab some of this very light gray and go inside the ear with that. Go over the pink a little bit. There's little furry hairs there. And let's use this color on the face too. And if these are too big, just use the corner instead of using it flat this way. Just use the edge of the brush and just draw with that. Grabbing some white and mixing it with that yellow, or that color, and I'm adding a little bit of yellow. And I still have the grays in my brush, so it's all kind of working together. This brush may be a little bit big for this area here, but I'm going to make a little sort of triangle at the top of the mouth, and then this side of the mouth, or this side of the face is all kind of lit up. This tapping. And then we'll tap along this edge here. Add a highlight all the way down there, and then just tap along this edge here. Add the highlight on this side. And a little bit around the face. Here we go. Very light brush strokes here just to add a little bit more texture to my llama babies fur. A little bit highlight down the middle there. I don't have very much paint on my brush here, so this is just kind of blending out just a little bit, kind of adding a little color. Okay. Go back in here with this white, little tiny bit of yellow, almost pure white here. Really bright right there. And let's do the same thing on the ears up here. Okay. Really bright right here. I'm just going to use this brush now to kind of add a little bit of texture to the face. I'm going to grab a little bit of that yellow and mix it in with the Titan Pale here and mix in some lighter color for the face here. It's not all dark like this. grab some of that kind of medium gray color for the ears in this area here. It's a little bit dark right there. There we go. Softening up all that hard outline there. Okay, I'm going to grab some of the burnt umber, mix that with this orange. Use that under here. Okay, so now we have these dark shadows in here, and I'm just going to kind of go over sort of some of those areas just to blend them in just a little bit. I don't want to cover them completely, but I do want them to kind of look like more part of it and not just lines kind of sitting on top of the other fur. So I'm just kind of going around next to these and blending those in a little bit. I'm going to bring this ear forward a little bit. It's a little bit far back on this picture. There we go. Oh, he's so cute. I can't stand it.
Kind of like you.
Every time I see the little baby face, it's just like, oh. We keep getting videos of our grandchild from my son and daughter-in-law. They send videos every week. So we're getting to see Liam grow up. He's far away because they live in another state, so we don't get to see him very often, but I love that we get to watch his videos and keep.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to reach out there and just squeeze his little cheeks. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's starting to grab at stuff now. So he's 4 months old. So he's all these pictures of him grabbing the books and grabbing stuff.
A pillow.
Yeah, he was just scratching the pillow, just feeling the texture of it. One of the videos. It's just funny how fascinating. It's not interesting to anybody but us. But and we've seen our own kids grow up, and when they were doing it, it was not that interesting. I'm sure. We're just like, oh my god.
Maybe the oldest.
Thank God he's interested in something. Like, we're so tired. Maybe he'll play with that pillow for a little while so I can take a nap. But grandparents were like looking at it from the outside. We're like, oh, yeah. So cute. Every little thing. It's great. I love it. I always heard being a grandparent was awesome. I agree. Totally get it. They're coming to stay with us next month, so actually the end of this month we'll have little Liam in the house. So I'm sure we'll get him on camera here at some point, or at least not necessarily as
on a Thursday or chat. I think he'll have to make a special.
Yeah, he'll have to make a special appearance. But I'm sure we'll be able to hear him during the videos too. If he's in the other room even. Alrighty. It's looking good. Really fun. Okay. Grab a little bit more white here. I'm just going to kind of make a little, there's kind of little hairs that kind of coming down here. And highlight right here. And then same thing with here. There's hairs kind of coming out this way. So I'm just going to go through here and tap and pull out just a little bit. And that's probably, see, that's what I'm talking about right here, where I kind of, my outline is way farther out than it should be. Okay, let's try that again. If I go in here, there we go. Babies. I'm going to grab some of the light ultramarine. I'm going to add some of this peachy color to it to gray it out a little bit. Grab that unbleached titanium, bit of white. It's going to go in here and color. I'm going to use a little bit darker gray on this side. And down at the bottom. And all I'm doing is holding it on its edge and just kind of wiggling it back and forth here. I'm not really doing anything fancy. Just kind of creating small choppy brush strokes. And this brush does a lot of the work for me, because it's already kind of textured. It's got that rounded tip, so it makes it really easy to get these kind of effects. I'll grab a little bit more of the brighter blue. I'm just going to do some blue in some of these areas here. The nice thing about this light ultramarine blue is you can get lighter values with it, but because it's that purpley blue, it looks like it's in shadow automatically. You don't have to do anything. You can go in here and you can add it to your areas where you want a little bit more of a value change, but you still want it to look like it's in shadow. And this color is like the go-to color for that. It's really great. So you can get a little bit lighter value color in your shadow areas just by using a blue or a purple, light purple. And this is a little bit more blue than is in our reference photo, but I really always like using a little bit of blue because it just, especially against this peachy color, it looks really nice. And it, your eye is not going to look at this and say, oh, that's a blue llama, you know, because it's not being used in the main areas. It's just kind of in these shadow areas. But it just kind of adds a little pop of color, and it shadows those areas. It's really, really pretty. Okay. We're almost done with this. It's pretty coming along pretty quickly. I'm going to add a little bit more detail on the baby here. Get a little bit of unbleached titanium. Add a little bit of the peachy color to it. And I'm just going to add a little bit more detail to the chin here. There's like this double chin thing happening. And Put a little bit of this in the mama's face. Grab a little bit of that gray. Not that dark. I'm just scooping off that color. There we go. Let's tap that in. Grab a little bit of that gray and put it in right here in front of the ear. Right at the corner of the eye there. I'm going to switch to my small brush now. I'm going to grab this number 1 round.
So what's our difficulty rating on this one here?
This one is turning out to be a little bit more difficult than, probably more difficult than the other llama was, I would say. I think that if you were using a bigger canvas, it might be less difficult, because it's always more difficult when you're doing these little teeny tiny details in these small spaces, because there's less room for, error. So I would say probably a 6 out of 10, maybe. It's probably... Using the kind of gray to kind of blend around here. The mouth is kind of odd because it's highlighted on the lip. So I'm going to go in here with my white and just highlight the lip. Just a little bit. And then I've wiped it off and I'm just tapping that edge on the top where I want it to blend in. And I'm leaving this hard edge at the bottom here where it's dark. And then I can go back in with the dark and kind of clean that up if I want. But it's really dark underneath and it's light on top. And then there is the nostril, does this triangle thing right there. And then there is a gray around the eye, like a gray lid. Kind of meets up with this teardrop part that comes down and right there. And then it comes back up right there. And then there's a dark shadow on the top of the lid. So I'm going to put that in. Once you zoom in on the eye here, it's going to be easier to see what I'm doing. There we go. It's kind of... Okay, so lid just above this eye shape here. I elongated this a little bit and then did the darker, like a lighter medium gray underneath the eye there. Come out like that. Okay, so on the baby, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to kind of come above it with, it's probably way too high, but we'll fix it. Above it with our lids, right? And then make sure that we've got our nose kind of defined. So it's got this really sharp heart shape kind of right here. Comes around. Get some black here. The nose comes dark line right here. Straight down. And then you get a lighter gray here and just kind of go over this part is lighter. And underneath is lighter. And then there's the dark kind of on the lip part here. And then right up underneath is where it's highlighted. Just like on the mama. Almost like a white mustache right there. And then I'm tapping out those edges to kind of blend it in. And then I want the white to come down middle of the nose, so I'm just going to kind of shape out that nose just a little bit. This comes out all the way up there. And this part of the nose is highlighted right there, so I'm going to put a little bit more white right there. Sorry, my throat's closing up on me today. No. So dainty. Okay, there we go. All right, so in this area here, I'm going to get a little bit of darker gray. So this area here under the nose to the mouth is darker. This where it's kind of tricky because it is dark in here. But then it's got the white outline here.
So
There we go. It's very subtle. What?
with this zoomed in so much,
Mm-hmm.
the fabric of the canvas
Mm-hmm.
really helps with that texture look
Yes, it
to
does.
the hairy fur wool stuff.
Yep. Yes, it does.
Sometimes the paint grabs it, sometimes it doesn't, but it really helps.
Yeah, having a smooth canvas is great for like things like portraits where you want everything to be really smooth, but something like this where you're doing fur and stuff, that more slightly textured canvas works really well. I'm just using this and creating a few little eyelashes there. And I'm going to use the Zinc White to go in here and put in our little highlights on the inside of the eyeballs there. He looks a little cross-eyed. Let me come out with the black a little bit farther. There we go. Round out this side, but this should stay kind of a triangle shape here. I'm going to get a little bit of black here and outline that. Whoops, too much water. Outline the mouth. Make sure I got that really good little smirk going on him. And then the dark underneath. dark gray kind of underneath the chin there. And I'm going to darken up the nostrils, do this kind of bird shape right here. Little triangles. There we go. And if you need to, you can use a little bit of the kind of medium gray here just to kind of shape out the nose around the outside of it and the muzzle. Kind of darker all the way around right here. Here we go. And then there's little highlights we can put out. We'll grab that white and do little white highlights along this side. All these little fuzzies right here. I'm just tapping. Okay, let's give the mom some little eyelashes. The mom's got eyelashes coming down like this. Keep them very small. You can use a smaller brush. I had that liner brush out, but this one's doing okay for me, so I'm just going to stick with it. And come around the face here.
Which brush are you using?
This is the number 1 round. Get more of that white here. Just going to outline here. Bring it in right there. some more lighter coming around the face. Down the middle of the body here. Let's go back with that Zinc White now. I'm going to go right along here. The inside of the eye right there. And I'm going to highlight the top of the eyeballs there and there on the baby. And then I'm going to get in here with a little bit of the white and highlight on the nostrils right up in here and there. And a little bit more highlight on the eye right there and there. And a little bit more on the mom. And I'm going to use a little bit of that Zinc White to kind of go around that whole eyeball there on her. And then on the baby, there's just a little bit of white on the inside of the eye here. And it's never like bright white. Even on the eye, even though this part of the eye is white, it's still in shadow. So it's not going to be bright white. So tone it down with whatever colors around it. Alright, I'm going to use a little bit of this darker gray to kind of put a little bit of definition in some of the fur on the baby. What time is it? An hour and a half, that's not bad. Go with the darker gray in the inside of the ear here. Here we go. And this eye is a little bit more squinty than the other one, so if it looks that way, he's kind of, it's almost like he's winking. It's kind of squinting because the mommy's getting close to touching him there. So it's a little bit more squinty on that eye. And come up over the eye with a little bit of the lighter color. And I want a little bit of the darker because there's no dark back in here, so at least there is in the picture, not in right now. Need a little bit more contrast right there. Yeah, just gonna blend out our gray on the face a little bit. Smushing it around. Grab a little bit of burnt umber. I grabbed a little bit of glazing liquid just to make this a little bit more opaque or transparent here, and I'm just going to kind of come in here with this and add a little glazing in some of these areas where I want a little bit more contrast on the face, but want to still keep it soft, so that glazing liquid just kind of helps thin out the color just a little bit. Softens it up. And you can still see the texture of your paint underneath. And if you get too much on there, you can just kind of wipe it off or dab it. There we go. All right, zoom out there. Let me look and see what this looks like. Thanks, honey. I'm gonna do my dark shadow that goes down here. Using the Unbleached Titanium here. I'm just going to be adding a little bit more bits of highlights around this ear here and the side of the face. It's cute. I think we're about there. Just looking to see if there's anything else that I want to do. Use a little bit of the dark blue gray in this area. I'm going to do one more layer of that bright white. But first I see something on the nose here. I want to round out that nose a little bit. On the mama. And grab my bright white.
Somebody has asked.
Come right along there. What?
If the neck should be getting wider as it goes off the canvas to the right.
Yes, it's wider. It does maybe not look. I can make it more obvious, but yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a little bit wider right here. Yeah, and I can even bring it down a little bit too. More. like that, but better.
I like it.
Good. Have my white here. Try to get brightest white. And just go in here. And white is really funny. It kind of, when it dries, it darkens. It'll kind of pick up the colors underneath. So you may need 2 or 3 layers of it to get it as bright as you need it for this area in here where you want these really, really bright highlights. So just know that kind of going in. You may need to do this 2 or 3 times before it is super bright where you want it to be really, really bright. Oh, it's so pretty. I like it. So cute. I just like the look of the sunlight, kind of that glow. Just thought it was kind of a cool effect. I don't think we've done fur this way before, or on an animal where it's glowing like this before that I could think of. So I thought it would be kind of fun. Yeah, just adding, keeping that really bright stuff right along that top edge though. And right along this edge here. Right on that nose right there. Just put a little bit of it on the bottom. There's a little bit on the chin here. A little bit of the light color underneath the eye there. And there's a little dark right in front of the eye. All right, I'm going to stop because I could keep fiddling with it, but I think it's good enough. Cute. Yeah. A little bit of the light gray, and I'm just going to kind of redefine this eye just a little bit. It comes up and right here a little bit squishy. And same thing right here. squint in. I don't know if I like the look of that. I'm just going to widen that back out.
But I did like the backstory of the eye, though.
Of the squinty eye?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Just rounding that out. Okay. I'm just adding small little things here. A little bit of white under the chin. I'm using the Zinc White so it's not so obvious. There we go. What do you think? Do you see anything?
I see a brush in your water.
Okay.
But that's probably not what you were referring to.
No. I'll get it out here in a minute.
Okay.
I'm almost done. I keep seeing things, but just small things. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. And then I can always go in here and do something more with the background. I don't think I'm going to. I like it kind of fuzzy like that. But I might splatter, though. I think splattering might kind of give it a soften that background a little bit. Using my Pigma Sakura pen. It's a waterproof India ink. It does have an alcohol base, so don't use any kind of alcohol to varnish your paint or it'll smudge it, but you can paint over it. You could use a isolation coat and cover it and then do your varnish, and then you won't have any issues with it smudging. This and all of the materials that we use are all down in the description of the video, listed down there. So if you want to find those to purchase, you can find them on the Amazon store, and also the brushes are at thebrushguys.com.
With 5%
my teacher
off.
recommended brushes, and yeah, you get 5% off from them if you use the code Angela Fine Art when you check out. So it's a pretty good deal, and they're really great to work with. Got good prices on these brushes that I'm using, the Princeton brushes, which, alrighty, I'm going to see, I need to define that chin just a little bit. So I'm going to round that out a little bit. There we go. You'll be able to see his chin. or her, I should say. I guess it could have been the daddy. Could be the daddy. He's looking a little cheeky, like he's gotten in trouble for something. She's having a talking to him. I have a whole backstory there. You can make up your own. So, all right, let's just end it. I'll go ahead and
End it with what?
splatters.
Splatters?
Just a few. I think it'll help soften up that background, kind of give it. It looks like dust motes when you do it like this, you know, where it's little white splatters and you've got this glow happening. I do it when I do those flower fields. We do the blurry backgrounds, and it just kind of has that effect. It looks like it's, I don't know, it just softens everything up a little bit. And if you get one where you don't want it, you can dab it off.
Well, since you did these in a cooler tone with more whites than the dusty, dirty, I'm calling them the snow llamas.
Snow llamas.
And it's snowing out now, so
There you go. There you go. Yep. All righty, I'm going to work on my miming.
The very rare snow llama.
My miming. Maybe you can give me some tips on how I can improve.
I love you.
I love you. Okay.
All right, so what are we doing Tuesday?
We're doing a waterfall with wisteria. So it should be pretty easy, I think.
Nice.
Probably start with the dark background for it. So I'm not sure yet, though, 100%. But I think we'll probably start with the either dark blue or dark green background, and then we'll go from there. So should be fun.
Sounds good.
And then next Saturday, we're doing it'll probably be a longer one. It'll be the Oriental Poppy. So it'll be a really nice detailed flower. So next Saturday, which is when Liam shows up. So one might be brushed. I don't know.
We'll see.
He'll be coming that night, so I'll have plenty of time.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys, so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.